Hi there. I've got a question for you. Why do so many of us want to change but can't? Why is change so hard? Why is it that so many of us wait for crisis, trauma, disease, diagnosis, betrayal, or even loss to finally make up our mind to change? We can make up our mind to change in a state of pain and suffering, or we can do it in a state of joy and inspiration. Which will you choose? So let's assume that your thoughts create your life. Statistics say that you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had the day before. So it makes sense that if you don't change your thoughts, you're destined to make the same emotions and the same choices, which will lead to the same behaviors and experiences, which will create the same emotions. So if you keep making the same thoughts and making the same choices or demonstrating the same behaviors and making the same experiences and producing the same feelings and emotions, it kind of makes sense that your brain is going to start to hardwire and create your identity, your personality. So most people, by the time they reach 35, will become a set of memorized behaviors because we just keep carrying over from one day to the next day to the next day to the next day. We have unconscious emotional reactions and routine habits that function just a lot like a computer program. So when these people try to change, they're using about 5% of the conscious mind to go up against the other 95% of the mind, or the subconscious, the one that's kind of always bringing things from the day before, from the day before, from the day before. And they can think positively all they want, but that thought will actually never make it past their brainstem into their body, because their thought says one thing and their body says another thing. Remember the saying that it's not about what you say, it's what you do? Well, this is direct positive proof. Up until March 2007, I was a smoker. I quit smoking. I tell you, anybody who's ever smoked, that wasn't the first time I tried. I probably tried 60 times before then. But until I actually had it into my mind saying, I have to do this, I really have to do this, and I acted upon it and told myself I had to, that's when I stopped. So if you aren't using your thoughts to be defined by a picture of the future, which is what you have to do, is what is my life going to be like if I don't smoke anymore? And that's really one of the things that kind of got me through the actual quitting process. So if you aren't using your thoughts to be defined by a picture of the future, then you're left with the memories of the past, and you'll become predictable in your life. We were just talking about this the other day. Ayn Rand was talking about, in the 40s, that if we were to give everybody 5 tires, by the end of it, a year, I believe she said, the people that started up at the top that had all the tires to begin with will end up having all the tires to begin with, because it's been ingrained into our thoughts that, well, geez, I never had tires before, so here now I've got tires. It kind of goes along with the people that win lotteries. How many times does somebody win a lottery and all of a sudden 3 years later they got nothing? It's because it's been ingrained in them. They're not supposed to have it, so they just let it kind of pop out. So here's something to think about. When you wake up in the morning, you start with a clean slate, right? You don't think anything. You don't feel anything. So when you wake up, don't think about the problems of yesterday, because the problems of yesterday is a memory of the past. They're gone. They're out the back. The definition of a feeling or an emotion is a photograph of the past. And as long as you're thinking of the past, your past will become your future. Go all the way around, thinking and feeling and thinking. As soon as you start thinking about something, you're going to start feeling it. And then as soon as you start feeling it, you're going to start thinking it. And then you're just going to keep on going, thinking and feeling and thinking. You need to stop. Why are you this way? Well, you're this way because of something that happened 35 years ago. There was an event that happened 35 years ago, and I'm just going back because up till you're 35 years old is when you actually have everything all kind of programmed into you, and you won't change. And you haven't been able to change things. So here's the thing. The latest research on memory suggests that 50% of what you talk about in your past is not even the truth. Memory is creative because you don't have the same brain that you had 35 years ago. Why? Well, people embellish the thoughts that they had that gave them the bad experience to reaffirm the emotion that keeps them in the past. So, therefore, the person could be reliving the life that they actually never had. We get caught on that thinking and feeling merry-go-round again. It's like the old telephone game. It's one person starts saying something and then it goes around and around and around. And by the time it gets back to you, it's like, Bob married Sally's uncle? That's not what I said. So jump off that merry-go-round. You can't create a new future holding on to things of the past. Your body doesn't really know the difference between an actual experience that creates the emotion and the emotion that you're creating by the thought alone. Your body actually believes that it is living in the same past experience that it is literally living in the past. So to change is to be greater than your body and to be greater than the conditioning that it was fed in the past. Now, you're probably thinking, geez, Trevor, you're nuts. What are you talking about? How can you change? Well, here's some things. Stop doing what you used to do. Pretty easy. Stop running the habits that you've been doing in the past. Stop thinking in the past. Have you ever driven somewhere and gotten your destination and thought, how the heck did I get here? Well, that's conditioning that has been developed in your body, and it's you living in the past still. It's a habit that has been done so many times that your body knows how to do it better than your conscious mind. It just does it. Your body's on autopilot and it's dragging you into your predictable future, and you have lost your will to program it. Your personal reality is now creating your reality. Your environment is creating how you're thinking and feeling. It means that you are a victim of your life. You must change the conditions in your life. Believe in a future that is so alive in your mind that you begin to live as if future reality is living in the moment. Create that picture. You must create new thoughts in your life. If you're not creating new thoughts, you're living in the past. If you're living in the past, you're living in the known. If you're living in the predictable future, you're still living in the known. In order to change, you have to go beyond the programs of the future and conditioning of the past. The moment that you decide that you're going to do something differently, you've stepped over the line to change. Get ready for it. This is the exciting part, because your body will have some controlling thoughts, kind of like the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. It's like, no, you shouldn't do this. Oh, yes, you should do this. That's exactly what's going to happen. Most people listen to the controlling thoughts as if they're true. But just because you have a thought does not mean that it's true. Today, no more blaming, no more self-pity, no more suffering. Disrupt the chemical continuity that your body requires. Get rid of the old me and create the new me. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Wire your brain with the new thoughts that you want to have your mind's attention on. Close your eyes. Rehearse the activity. If you have to, just practice. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what is on the inside and what's on the outside. So create a map to the future of your brain by rehearsing it again and again and again. You may start thinking of abundance and it will come. You may start thinking of being healthy, and guess what? You're going to get healthy. You can think and you can create it. People seem to say that I'm not a very creative person, but creative is just the ability to imagine. And we can all imagine. We may have suppressed that ability, but we all can. You can't wait for your healing to come to you. That's the old model of cause and effect. We can't wait for the relief. Some people will wait their whole life waiting for something to change. And if you're waiting, you're not creating. The whole thing about creating a new reality is not about cause and effect. It's about causing effect. The moment you start feeling it, you're stepping towards something new. Become in awe of life, and you can create a mystical experience. That's cause and effect. Break the habit of your old self and create a new self. When you ask the question, can I do this? You've already started to create. You've created the picture. When you create the picture, you've created the emotion. And when you've created the emotion, you've created the new reality. Every day, remind yourself of who you want to be and remind yourself of who you no longer want to be. You're going to start to see opportunities and coincidences showing up in your life. It's the universe telling you that you're heading towards a new future, the future that you created. We become more whole, more present, and more loving. Why? Because we are now living life less in lack and more in abundance. So send me a message through social media at RightWealthFS. That's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. And we can set up a virtual 30-minute meeting where we can talk more about changing your thoughts. Don't worry. As always, there is no cost or obligation to this. I have a goal that I would like to see as many people as possible succeed in life through manifestation of their visions, thoughts, and desires. Like and share this podcast with your friends on social media, and the link's available. I've got them. If you look down underneath, they're in part of the description here. And take the next step with me. Be sure to make it a great day, unless you have other plans.